My name is Goldfarb. I live in Israel. I was born in Israel. I live in Rishon LeZion. I was born in Rishon LeZion. My parents come from how do you call it in Israel? You call it former Soviet Union republics. My father comes from Moldova, and my mother comes from Lithuania. My grandparents also. My mother was born in Lithuania. My grandparents were born in Lithuania. They lived there before the war and after the war. In 1963 they came to Israel. I'm 49 years old. I'm married. I have two daughters. One is 23, one is 18. I can say about myself that I'm a proud Litvak. I grew up on the Lithuanian tradition, on the stories about Lithuania, about Kaunas, about Trishik, about the towns they lived in, the towns they were born. Of course, I knew what the Lithuanian kitchen. I didn't like it then when I was a child, because it was little less spicy. In Israel, we like spicy food. The tzepelinas was very common in our house, and cold soup. I forgot its name. I ate it yesterday. Yes. My grandmother and my grandfather, after my grandmother died, so he used to make this food. He was a great cook. And all the Jewish foods that were connected to their to their hometown, to their origin. I remember very clearly. Although she died when I was 9 years old, I remember her. I remember her presence. I remember when she talked about her hometown. She came from a small town, so all the stories about her childhood, her parents, brothers and sisters. Well, one of her brothers married my grandfather's sister, so the story after she passed away, the stories went on. She used to sing me songs in Lithuania and Yiddish. Tell me a little bit about what they went through before the war, during the war, and after. They didn't talk too much about it. They wanted to forget what happened. But I have like a period before the war and a period after the war. During the war, it's missing. It's missing in my heritage puzzle. I grew up. I absorbed a lot of Lithuanian culture. When I was a child, I was asked, where are your parents from? And I told my friends that they are from Lithuania. And they said, no, there is no Lithuania. There's the Soviet Union. I said, no. You have to be precise. They're from Lithuania. And I was very proud. I'm still proud. And I hope I'll pass it. I'll pass this pride to my daughters. Well, my grandfather, because he raised me most of the time, and he was living with me, then I remember more stories about him. I knew that he was a very important person. He was a clockmaker. He had a shop. I went to visit his shop. It was so thrilling to see history. I saw pictures, but when you're standing near it and you have something, you get the chills. See your family comes from here. I know he had the first motorcycle in town, and I heard he was a very distinguished person here. He was very admired. He was good looking. He was not rich, but he had money. He could live here. Very nice. I remember stories about the regime. Smetona's the president. He loves Smetona's the president. He always talked about him. When I was a child, we made We made a quiz, country and president. And I asked him, who's the president of Lithuania? He said, Smetonas, even though the Soviets were here. So from him, life as Lithuania ended when, after the war and when the Soviets arrived. He didn't talk too much about the war. He was hiding from me this information. I knew where he was, the places, the camps that he was taken to, but very, very little information what he went through, what his family went through. He didn't want to talk about it. He had bad dreams. He used to wake up sometimes at night screaming, calling for his mother. But that's it. And the stories I heard is from the other side of the family, from his side of the family. They were more open about it. So the stories I heard is mostly from them. I wanted to know, but I didn't want to look too much in the past, because I believe, like my mother, that first of all, you have to learn from the past, but you have to look to the future. And sometimes when you dig, you can find not so pleasant things. So, I respected my grandfather's wish, and didn't look so too much. It's enough for me to know the general story. I learned part of the story in school, as we have, education plan to learn about the Holocaust, about everything that happened. I read books. I read a little bit, Wikipedia, just to be familiar with the general story. But big part of what happened really to each one of my family members from my mother's side are not familiar to me until now, till today. I said to my mother, whatever makes you happy, I support you, because I knew she didn't have any future in Israel. She would have been someone else.
Senior.
Regular senior, how do you say it? But she's something here. She wanted to fulfill her life dream, and she did it. I'm happy she did it. I'm happy for her, and when she's happy, I'm happy. Well, my little daughter is she's 18. She's interested. She's very interested. She's interested in languages and cultures, so she's more interested about her heritage, about where I came from. My oldest daughter is, a little bit busy with her things, but definitely I'm gonna take both of them, see where the roots are. It's very important for a person to know from where he came from, to know where he's going to. Well, the image is small houses, carriages in the streets, people wearing suits, and the pointed hats, yeah, and old motorcycles, old cars, it's not the mud, like an old city in the 1920s, 1930s, something like that. I didn't expect to see classical Europe city. I expect to see more modern city, but when I saw, the churches and the houses, the old houses, I was fascinated, because it's classical Europe. It reminds me about Budapest, about Vienna, places that I visited, and I didn't expect, I thought it's a pretty modern new city, but when I saw in the old buildings, I was fascinated. Very, very exciting. I'm visiting for the first time ever, and it's me to blame, because I had a few chances. But I said, no, Lithuania, it's not a place that drew me, and now I'm sorry that I wasn't here before. It's very thrilling, to walk the streets, think that my family members used to walk the same streets, sat in the restaurants, visited the movies, visited plays. Exciting, very exciting. Everything. I cannot point something special. I like the weather. I like, as I said, I like the weather. The weather is wonderful. I went to the park the other days to jog. It was so, the air was so clean. It was so fun. I ran, couldn't stop. I made another round in the park, and the weather is beautiful. Although you are complaining sometimes, it's too hot. Not for us. The architecture here is beautiful. The buildings, everything. The quiet in the street. The people are so calm, so easy. So, I live in an uptight country. Everyone is in pressure. Everyone is running around, shouting. Here, everything is calm. It's okay. Yeah, I saw a few things missing. Well, there's not much hotels. This city should be visited more than it is done now. It's very important. This time of year, I went to Barcelona, to other cities, and they were full with tourists. And here, for some reason, very little. Compared, of course. So, in my opinion, tourism is missing because it's a beautiful city. It has everything a tourist can find: old sites, new sites, city life, great weather, green all over. Sightseeing, wonderful, just wonderful. That's the main thing I wish for this city, for this country.